Oh, right. Hey, I got theme music back. Well, kind of back. Playing it from my iPhone. Good evening and welcome to Merriwether's World. I'm trying to not get it confused with the donut shop at the beginning of the world, but good evening. Welcome to Merriwether's World. I am your host, Dr. Mark Merriwether Vorderbruggen, creator of Foraging Texas, author of Idiot's Guide Foraging. Where'd my copy of Idiot's Guide Foraging go? Oops, I don't have it with me. All right. And lots and lots and lots of other stuff. Wow, cool. We already got people showing up. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, built on the. Hey, my boss is here. Cool. Mary, good evening. John, Mark, hello. Joe. Okay, lots and lots and lots of people. Still waiting for tonight's special guest, Chris Hamblen. He is currently off in New Mexico, kind of stuck in the hangar with his helicopter as really bad storms that we really need are crashing over him. He just sent me some live video. It's like, I didn't think New Mexico could get hurricanes, but apparently they can. So that gives me time to do the normal housekeeping type stuff. So like I said, I already posted up a link to Foraging Texas. Those of you who are wondering where and when you can see me live, not just here, but like walk around outside looking at plants. Try that. Okay, so I have a special page on Foraging Texas now with all sorts of upcoming classes listed there. Of course, the one this Saturday is already filled up. There's some for August, though I am trying to get some earlier ones set up too. Let's see. Also, for those of you, and I'm kind of wondering where my book went. So remember, Foraging Texas is pretty much run on donations, and we got a special thing going on. If you donate, I think at $5 or more, maybe 10. It'd be nice if you donated 10. Or more, your name goes in a hat. And then this Friday, during the donut shop at the beginning of the world, 7:30 to 8 a.m. right here, I will draw a name from all the people who have donated. This is particularly important right now because I am trying to get a computer that does not suck. Those of you who have been watching this for a long time understand the battles I've had, excuse me, with the computer system. And so I'm trying to de-battle my life. I got enough other battles with Medicine Man, Plant Company, and life in general. So I'm trying to at least make it easy to give you this information. So there's a link to PayPal to donate there if you so choose. Also, and I feel bad because I don't actually have my book here to show you. I really don't know. I had it here. Confusing. Anyway, just a reminder that the Idiot's Guide, my book, Idiot's Guide Foraging, the way Idiot's Guides work is they find an idiot to write a book for them. I do not get any royalties from it. The only way I get any more money from the sale of this book is if you buy it from this specific link that I gave you. In that case, Amazon gives me 74 cents as a sales commission. So that's really cool. For those of you who want to wear Foraging Texas stuff or drink from Foraging Texas stuff, of course, you should check out the Cafe Press store with all sorts of t-shirts and oh, you know what? I know someone recently, hey, Kathleen, perfect timing, Kathleen. I know Kathleen recently ordered like a t-shirt or something there. Maybe if we all ask her really nicely, she will model it. Though tonight I am wearing my, whoops, what side is it here? The Campcraft Outdoors t-shirt, because Campcraft Outdoors makes the gear that I carry with me or carry all my stuff when I'm out in the woods. They make this heavy duty yet still lightweight waxed, so waterproof canvas sewn here in the United States. If you go off the trail as much as I do, you realize plastic packs just get ripped to shreds. The canvas, especially the wax canvas, is damn near indestructible. And if you order and use a coupon code Foraging Texas, you get a discount, which is always nice, especially right now. So they have all sorts of bags and haversacks. They have some custom knives, a number of different things like that. So it's not for the just casual styling sort of hiker. This is for the people who are, going off trail, off into the woods, carrying stuff, and don't want their pack ripped open and everything spilled out. So good stuff. Also have to do a shout out to Herbs in Cushing, Texas. It is my number one source of the medicinal herbs that I get for myself. So let me put that up there. And they have the special Foraging Texas coupon code Forking Weeds. If you do that, you get a 15% discount between now and midnight. So that's cool. And then along with them, of course, we have Uncommon Bees, who keeps me well supplied. Oops, will it focus? There we go. And all sorts of different infused honeys. So this is their elderberry infused honey. And I've been going through this quite quickly, but beautiful color, beautiful taste. Oh, beautiful smell. Good stuff. Of course, they also make the buzzed honey, which is basically a spoonful of honey equivalent of a Monster energy drink. So along with the honey, it has the caffeine and the taurine and a few of the other goodies and none of the baddies from energy drinks. So they also have a coupon code, Forking Weeds. So let me throw that up. Okay, go up there. All right, there's a delay on my end. Okay, tons of stuff there. Oh, and then finally, especially in these crazy times, if you are looking for the sort of gear you need to keep you protected and safe and patched up and generally, the sort of things you need in hard times, definitely check out Fear and Dread in Vidor, Texas. But they also have a website. Let me put it up here. And if you mention you're from me, you get a discount. So like I have the individual patrol officer kit. This is a vacuum sealed. It's like a chest wound and a tourniquet and gloves and a few other things for a major trauma. So I have these in the vehicles, in my bags. So in case there's a car accident or, whatever, being a trained first responder, it's just one of the tools I have on hand to help take care of anything that may be needing taking care of. Whew. Okay. Here's an unsolicited comment about Uncommon Bees. Their autumnal equinox honey is really awesome. So yeah, you definitely need to check out the Uncommon Bees. They have a ton of different infused things. They recently just released a ghost pepper infused honey. Kenneth, the guy who makes all this stuff, he actually had to have like a respirator mask on and the big gloves and all that while he was making it. But from what I've heard, it's pretty intense. Okay, still no Chris. So hopefully, let me just check the messages. Nope. Okay. Just waiting for Chris. So, what else do I got going on? That's so tonight, let me talk a little bit about Chris before he gets here, and then I'll let him take over. But Chris has been a longtime fan of Foraging Texas. Those of you who hang out at the donut shop at the beginning of the world have seen him comment. He is the one that is actually donating the copy of Idiot's Guide Foraging to be raffled off or drawn from a hat from everyone who's been donating lately to help keep Foraging Texas afloat. He's a helicopter pilot. Years of it, I don't know, maybe 25 years flying helicopters all over the, basically all over the world. Everything from transporting people and equipment and search and rescue, probably the whole works there. So he flies a number of helicopters. Actually not certified for fixed wing. He's working on that. I wonder if Chris McMartin is here tonight. I don't know. Probably not. Chris McMartin is my other pilot friend who took Merriwether up a few months ago as part of the Young Eagles thing. And basically Merriwether got a free flight lesson and flew a plane. Oh, someone's asking for the herbs link again. So let me just throw that up there. Let's see. Let me. Okay, let me do this. There we go. Hopefully, Mary Horn, you see the link there this time. Oh, another cool feature that I figured out to do. Oh, actually, shout out to Wazoo Survival. They are the ones who are paying for the StreamYard account that is allowing me to do this broadcast. Again, if you remember, I had been using Zoom, and Zoom was a complete cluster F. So Wazoo stepped up and said, look, you got to try this. It's really awesome. And they were right. It's really awesome. To the point where with StreamYard, I now have this thing streaming live over on Foraging Texas, the Foraging Texas website. So if you want to pop over there, check out Foraging Texas. Along the top, there is a series of tabs. And if you click on the one that says Merriwether Live, this should be live there. So if someone wants to do that, pop over, check it out. Otherwise, we're going to continue to wait for Chris. For Chris. Let me put up two of the organizations that Chris was planning on talking about tonight and that he is part of. He's actually one of the few fully certified elephant management experts in the world. But there is the Elephant Managers Association. That should go up there. Yep. And then also the Asian Elephant Support Group. And he belongs to both of these and was going to talk a little bit about them tonight. In particular, to hopefully, some of you might go, wow, elephants are cool. Humans are sucky. I should donate some money to help the elephants. So we'll see what happens. But still no Chris. Let me just let me do something here. Just in case. Boom. Yep, okay, it's still the same. Yeah. All right. Okay. Boy, I wish my brother Paul was here. He does an excellent elephant imitation. So that's one of the things when you're inviting guests, especially guests who like do flying all around the world and things like that. That is sometimes they get tied up. I wonder if I can. Ooh, maybe I can. Let's see. If I do this, okay, that worked. And I do that, and that worked. And if I do this, boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is what Chris was dealing with right now in New Mexico from the hangar. Actually, he might even be sitting in his helicopter. So I know for us Houstonians, that seems like a minor storm. But for New Mexico, which I've only seen the eastern half of New Mexico, and it seemed fairly desert-like. But yeah, it's storming and blowing, and apparently he had some serious helicopter action to do. So, yep, okay. What else? Let's see. Anything else? Okay, well, hey, Ian from Alvin, Texas. Good to see you. All right, so still waiting for Chris. Let's see, what other? Oh, what? We have Chris. Yay! Chris is here.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hamblen. How you doing, Chris? I just showed them the
video
of the storm you were dealing with.
Oh, yeah. In fact, we lost power at the base, so I had to quickly find a spot where I had cell phone reception.
Oh, okay. All right. So I told people what I knew about you, which is you fly a helicopter and you are like an elephant manager expert type thing. Why don't you actually give them the real story?
All right. So, yeah, my first career was an elephant trainer, elephant management. Um, I started doing that when I was 18 years old, little kid.
Wow.
And I did that. Long story short, I ended up buying my own elephants. By the time I was 21, I had I had a I had an elephant, and and then then the government awarded me another one that they had taken away from somebody. Um, and so 2011, I guess, is when I had the oldest Asian elephant in the United States at one point. And so when she had finally passed, she was 70. She's probably 72 years of age. She
Damn.
came in right after World War II. She was one of the first elephants imported right after World War II. She was actually imported for the movie Jupiter's Darling with Esther Williams. I've
I know
never seen
Esther
it.
Williams. I don't know George. Wow.
So, yeah, she was a neat elephant. I was actually very lucky to end up with her. She was 100% blind, but she wasn't handicapped. And she was an old cranky lady, and she complained about everything. She's been through everything. She'd seen everything. And so it was kind of her retirement. At that point, I was working at a zoo in Boston, Massachusetts. And so I had her for a number of years. And then after she had passed, then I had to make a decision to either find another elephant. I couldn't keep the one I had solitary. And I had I'd been with the one I had that for about 20 years. And so I had to make a decision, either get another one or put her someplace with other elephants. So anything that was available, there was a reason it was available, and times were changing, and it was just getting tougher and tougher. So I thought it was time to put her in with, their Dallas Zoo had an opportunity. She's with 6 other elephants now, and perfect place for her.
Cool.
So, and I'd working in elephant management, all aspects of it, anything from regulations, helping to create regulations, transporting, wildlife conservation, or the conservation side of it, human elephant conflict in the wild, different little projects like that. Yeah. Heavily involved in a couple of organizations. So after that, I went around as I was a consultant for a while, and that was fun, but it was limited what I could do in the U.S. because everything I wanted to be a part of something bigger than just somebody's herd or something. So
right.
So I went to Africa a couple of times, kind of met some people in different organizations, and
whoop. All right, we lost you, Chris. Hopefully, whoops. Let me send him a message here. Yeah, how does one, get your own elephant? I guess times were different back then, is what I'm thinking. Oops. But sorry about that. Let's hold on here. Now we have to wait for the really, 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 really slow 4G in Texas computers. Come on, you can do it. Oh, there we go. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm trying to move to where the signal's stronger.
Okay.
There it is. Okay, so I didn't necessarily just want to work hands-on with them anymore. So I did some behavioral training consulting. I would go into some facilities, and they would have some male elephants that they kind of wanted to train what was called protective contact, where you're not really sharing a space with them anymore. You're on the other side of bars or something like that. And that's what zoos are primarily doing now, because it's safer. Zoos like it. keeps liability insurance down.
So the
So,
caretakers never enter the enclosure with the elephants. Is that what you mean, or
yeah,
rarely
yeah,
enter? I
and
guess.
or rarely enter, or if they do enter, it's under more controlled circumstances. Every facility works a little bit differently. So I did that for a while, and in the meantime, I had a friend that flew helicopters, and this was probably back in 2011. So I decided, yeah, and I went up with him, and I found something that was really cool. And I thought, I'd eventually like to integrate these things in together. And so I started doing that, and now I'm an EMS pilot. And what I'm hoping to do is be able to get to a place where I can afford to fly some wildlife management stuff in South Africa, particularly South Africa, where I'd work a couple weeks here, go down there, work a couple of weeks, kind of thing.
Okay.
And when I say afford to do it, I mean you're not going to make money doing it down there,
Yeah, there's not a lot of money in nature type stuff. I know that quite painfully.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but still
yeah. And
important.
that's a very abridged. Yeah, that's a very abridged, very short, sweet story on that.
So,
I mean,
we had one question, and it's just, how do you have an elephant? Especially at age, what were you, 21 when you got your first elephant? There's like Crazy Harry's used elephant lot or something. How does
yeah,
the
well,
Elephant
yeah, right.
King in Oklahoma?
No, that'll never happen today. That will never
Thank
happen
God.
today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But of course, every good story starts with a girl, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So I got
Oh,
into
my
it
God.
basically. This a girl I'd met, and her dad had elephants. So I was going to school in Colorado, and she was trying to do her own thing out in Colorado, and she got sick of it. She goes, "Hey, you want to go play with elephants for a while?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So I went and did that for a while, and they really liked me. The elephants really liked me, and then I kind of got into it. I really got into the elephant part of it. So then I went off to work with some other elephants in Arizona, and they had decided they wanted to retire. They were contractors to a zoo. And so he provided elephants to a zoo. So he called me up and says, "Hey, I want to retire. Are you interested in buying the elephants? I would like them to go to you.
Cool.
I know you don't have a lot of money, but we can work something out."
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
So how much land do you need to have elephants? Like, and what sort of fence do you? I can only.
Yeah. So I was leasing a facility. So I leased land. I built a facility on it, a USDA facility. We had to be permitted by the federal government.
Yeah, I can
They
believe
had
that.
very specific standards that we had to abide by. I had, elephant corrals. I had 8-foot fencing around the property. They inspected everything by how it kept the feed, to medications, to veterinary programs, and inspected all the time. Extremely scrutinized. And as you can imagine, if something went wrong, there's an uproar, whether it was either out of neglect or, somebody neglects something, or an elephant gets loose and wreaks havoc.
Oh, yeah.
People want answers. Yeah, people want answers, and there's a lot of people screaming about it. So there was a lot of oversight and a lot of regulation involved in it.
Yeah, understandable. You mentioned the veterinarians. Like, how common are veterinarians that know stuff about elephants? Is it just another big mammal in that regards, or is there elephant specific?
Kind of. Yeah, there's specialists. There's definitely specialists around the country, and it's a very small community. So everybody kind of knows everybody, and so if we would often fly out specialized veterinarians, or I was lucky enough, I had a veterinarian in Texas. When I was in Texas in the winters, I would bring him back to Texas, and then primarily in the summer I would take him to Boston for a zoo in outside of Boston there.
Wow.
And I contracted the elephant exhibit and the people, then the trainers and things like that. So the zoo never had to train their own people. They didn't have to do all of that stuff. It was real easy for them.
So it's like you were a elephant subcontractor sort of thing, or subcontracting.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to work with the elephants at that level, you have to really live with them. You have to eat with them. You have to breathe. You have to eat and breathe elephants. There's nothing else you can do if you're going to do it well.
Yeah.
The 9 to 5 keepers in a full contact situation, it's I'm not going to say they can't do it. They can't do it, but that wasn't necessarily my style. The 9 to 5.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I can believe that.
So yeah, I was lucky enough. My veterinarian, as soon as I had first contacted him years and years ago, and he was top of his class at Texas A&M.
Oh, wow.
And extremely smart, and he was a large animal vet already. So he went out and absolutely learned everything he could, and to the point where even when I would go to Boston, I would consult with him on a lot of stuff. The zoo had their own veterinarian, and there's specialists all over the country as well.
That makes sense.
And not just an elephant specialist, but reproductive side of it, or infectious disease side of it. So it can become quite specialized. Nice. I was actually very fortunate that I did not have anything major health-wise go on with.
We have I don't know if you can see the question there, but someone was wondering how much does it cost to feed an elephant for a day and a year, and what do you feed them?
Yeah, so it costs basically your entire life. But no. So depends on the size of the elephant, the appetite. Between 3 to 5 bales of hay a day, about 50 pounds of grain.
Wow.
Probably, and various fruits and vegetables, like a lot of them. Then especially when the Asian started getting up there in years and she started having teeth problems, then I also would supplement a lot of bread, about 40 loaves of bread a day.
So did you have contracts with different farmers and I guess bakeries or thrift shops at getting rid of their? Okay.
A bakery. I bought it straight from a bakery that was near the zoo. I picked them up every day, so they were actually fresh bread.
Okay. I guess elephants deserve that.
The overall scheme of things, as far as expenses go, it wasn't really a big expense, compared to a lot of other expenses, transportation, insurances, and especially we use the elephant. The African I had was a contact elephant, so I was insured through Lloyd's of London. It was insured. I could take her onto movie sets. I could do TV commercials with her. Did a thing with Bill Murray, a movie with Bill Murray.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't see it, but I remember seeing the trailers for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had some camels as well. So
just a question from me here. So like the Indian elephant or the African elephants and the Asian elephants, they get along okay with each other? There's no problems there, or?
Oh yeah.
An elephant is an elephant is an elephant when they're looking at each other.
Yeah.
You have small ears, but
there's no good way to describe their intelligence without sounding like a nutcase, but they're extremely, extremely intelligent. And they're just as individual as people are as far as their characteristics. So you can get some that get along with elephants, some that get along with people, some that get along with pretty much everything. You get some that just don't, that's just angry at the world, that, they're just as individual as people are. And
I can believe it.
And these two, the two I had at the end, they were just absolutely inseparable. The African I had was much younger and much larger than the Asian. But the Asian was kind of the little old lady that would just, like I said, complain about everything. So I kind of compared it to, like, a big grandson and the little grandmother. The grandmother could chastise the grandson and back him into a corner and all this other stuff. But yeah, don't you dare mess with the grandmother, because then you'll have the grandson to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
I always liked that. It was kind of that relationship.
Hmm.
Is the little old Asian lady could push the African around, and the African would just kind of take it.
As far as that goes, so I guess the African was the one that would go to movies and so forth, or would you bring them both, or would you leave one at home, the grandma at home, and take the grandson out? And
well,
or was that hard on them?
Primarily the movies part of that had taken place before I got the Asian. After I had gotten the Asian, I had changed what I did do and was willing to do because of her. There were some conditions for me getting her. She had been involved in an incident before I'd gotten her, so that's why I had gotten her. And so because she had a so-called record,
Bad dog.
there was just there was just and be truth be known, it wasn't her at all, but it was the person that was working her. But either way, I mean, it was one strike you're out kind of thing. And so I had those conditions, and it was so I didn't want, I at that point I kind of decided to stop doing that stuff, because you could separate them and get them used to that, but I didn't want the headache. I didn't want the added pressure, the stresses that would come with that.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I if they wanted any kind of work, they had to come to the zoo. And then at that point, I would only do the zoo and then only come back to Texas in the wintertime. I didn't do a lot of extra work on the outside because of that.
That makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah. And I'd gotten to a point to where I wasn't really interested in a lot of the outside work anyway. Kind of the hey, we'll pay you so much and come have your elephant dance like a monkey or something. I don't know. It was just kind of like, yeah, I'm done with that.
It sounds like, you have a little more respect for the elephants than what would be required. Yeah, that's eek. I guess going back to the insurance thing, I'm just curious, when you were setting all this up, did the government say, okay, Lloyd's of London is your only choice, or were you just calling, like Prudential, hey, I got some elephants I wanted to insure? I'm just picturing these conversations in my head.
So I got this 8,000-pound wild animal. I'm going to take it into crowded rooms and occasionally put other little kids on the back. But I had this great idea to, but they said they want some sort of liability insurance. Can you guys do that? No. So it didn't start out that way. There was a couple of companies that would do it, and then as the world grew more corporate over the years, it came down to one insurance company that would do that, and so it was just that.
So I'm not surprised it was Lloyd's of London. The chemical plant that I worked at up until recently, it blew up and burnt to the ground back in '89, something like that, 20 years ago. And they rebuilt it, but the only ones that would insure it was Lloyd's of London. They couldn't get insurance from anyone else. So
yeah,
I guess when you need something, if I remember correctly, I think Lloyd's of London also wrote the insurance policy on the moonshots, the Saturn or the Apollo missions and so forth.
Did they? I didn't know that.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I have this random little trivia in my head about them.
Probably, yeah. That company's been around since the 1400s or something.
Yeah, I mean they were like the first insurance company. Yeah.
Yeah, the shipping, they would insure all the shipping companies and all of that stuff. But then I imagine just like anything else, you look at the details of this insurance, and it's all set up to benefit them.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. In the end, they will make more than they will pay out. I mean, it's
yeah. And
the way it is.
luckily, I went 20 years, never had to use it, never got anybody, never got
Yeah.
anybody hurt, never
Yeah.
any bad incidences. So man, I was just absolutely lucky. No
Lucky.
bad
Yeah.
health. So
Mm.
I know a lot of people that mortgage their houses to pay for veterinary bills, and
Oof. Yeah.
lost
Yeah.
everything to one bad choice. So I was real
Ouch.
lucky with that.
Yeah. Why don't we talk a little bit about what you did in Africa? I guess you mentioned.
So the first time I went down for an International Elephant Foundation conference, and it was basically to do a bunch of networking. And there I met founder for Asian Elephant Support.
Yeah, Asian. I got the link here. I'll put it up again.
Yeah, Asian International Elephant Foundation is a great. They had an elephant research symposium. They try to have one every couple of years, and they've also tied into the Rhino Research Symposium, and it's
Makes
just
sense.
collaborators from everybody from around the world. It's just absolutely an awesome thing to go to. Yeah, there's neat people from Uganda Conservation Foundation, and just a whole bunch of neat people. So first time I went down there, basically to kind of network and hopefully to try to find a job.
Understandable.
And yeah, and I got some jobs out of it, but they were back in the U.S. I wanted to hang out in Africa more, so I collaborated with more people down in Africa. Got some opportunities to go down there, but by the time I experienced Africa and knew a little bit more about the reality and what you'd have to go through, wasn't as appealing.
Like what? Just paperwork and corruption
Well,
and
paperwork, the visa, the corruption, and especially the elephant poaching and that stuff. It's not black and white. It's not. I mean, one thing I've learned is it's so easy to westernize a problem and give a Western solution to it. And there's so many facets to it. There's so many folds. It's so complicated. Just like the whole thing of elephant conservation, you get one organization doing one thing or focusing on one thing or primarily against another. It's not that simple. Everybody needs to do.
I guess everyone has their own little thing they're trying to accomplish, regardless of what everyone else is trying to accomplish. There's no like organizing saying, okay, we have this much money. Let's focus on these three problems because they're the biggest or something. Everyone has their idea.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because it came to an understanding because in the beginning it was pretty broken up. There would be people against there'd be organizations that'd be against captivity. There'd be some against full contact, against protective contact, and all of this kind of bickering that kind of got in the way. And and so when you realize that none of those are perfect, but every little bit of it, the positive parts of it help.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is anti-circus. Well, what we know about elephants, elephant behavior, and then more importantly, veterinary medicine would never have been possible without Ringling Brothers. I mean, the stuff that they have done, the stuff that they have, the millions that they put into it, and more importantly, the artificial insemination, that science. I mean, that was a process that was 10 years, 20 years,
just again to go sideways. My father used to be artificially inseminate cattle, so I have many memories of him, deep in the rear end of a cow, and I'm just picturing an elephant and going, I'm thinking there's a wetsuit involved or something.
I've actually done that. One of the things I remember is I was assisting in helping collect some semen from a bull.
We're adults. I've marked this not a kid friendly sort of show.
So I'll make it. So as they were collecting, the bull's other trunk per se tends to have a mind of its own, and it's so much more than I can describe or willing to describe right here on this show. But the vet, he had a pair of eyeglasses on, and he's down there wrestling with it, trying to get a glove over it, and the thing kind of reaches over and smacks him in the face, breaks his glasses. He gets his black eye.
I would say like workman's comp. What happened? I'd rather not
Yeah.
say. I'd really
Yeah, he's
rather. I got a black eye
I
at
was-
work.
just make up something, anything
Yeah.
other than that.
Yeah, forklift. It was a forklift. Just go with forklift. You know. Oh
Yeah,
boy, I hadn't
but
thought
I mean,
about that side of the whole equation of artificial insemination. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of aspects to it. I mean, the ultrasound, ultrasound
wow,
of
yeah.
the cows too. The ultrasounds, even the best ones out there, only penetrate like 28 centimeters, and so you can't see what you need to see, the uterus and everything like that. So they would have to actually go in rectally with the ultrasound to
Yeah.
and you would train an elephant. You would clean, to go in and clean everything out and sit there comfortably while they took the ultrasound probe,
Wow.
and check the uterus out and the ovaries out.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and
the scientists wouldn't have like a fish finder work okay for that. Maybe not quite the high resolution, but wow. Okay.
yeah, so I mean, they're just in the industry. It was just some of the most amazing people I've ever met. Quirky, interesting, just all gamuts of.
I can believe that. Wow. I'm trying to come up with another question, and my mind is just blank right now. But then I guess, like, how many elephants are born in captivity in the U.S. and around the world? If you had to like spitball a guess, like per year,
that's
like
gonna be too
hundreds or tens or I guess.
Yeah, so hundreds. So so I guess we'll talk about what some of the organizations that are working today, what they're doing and who they are. There is a place in Thailand. Thailand is kind of controversial right now because it's their culture. The elephants are their culture, like horses are in ours.
Right.
But Western people are saying, "Oh no, you can't have elephants in your," because whatever. But there's one place called it's called Elephant Stay in Thailand. I share their stuff frequently. They have just had their 80th baby born.
Wow.
And that's just those are numbers here in the U.S. That's just unfathomable. I mean, that's just amazing, and they're getting better with that in the U.S. The U.S. is having a lot of success in birth. Houston Zoo, they just had a baby born recently. In fact, I'm supposed to go down and see it, and I haven't had time to do that yet.
Yeah. When we were talking earlier, you had mentioned the elephant herpes causing a lot of problems with the baby elephants, and like if they basically.
Yeah, and that's where I was leading into it. So elephant EEHV.
Oh, we're losing you. Please stand by. Oh, we lost him. He'll be back. Don't worry. Wow. Okay. Hopefully you all are enjoying this and learning interesting stuff. Chris will be back here momentarily. For once, it's not my computer's fault, probably. So, and I just want to do a special shout out to Kathleen for controlling yourself. All right. Let's, where was, Jennifer Thorne says, sounds like a normal conversation around my dinner table. All right. Cool. Okay, here we go. And you're back. And your side. Okay. Whoop.
Sorry about that. I don't know if
Okay.
that was my end or your end.
It could be either. But okay, so baby elephant
Having
and
audio problems here.
I can hear you. I think they can
Audio.
hear you. Huh. But yeah,
Let me turn my
so
Bluetooth off here. Maybe it's trying to get into my
oh,
car.
let's see. But yeah, apparently elephant herpes, it's a slightly different virus. It's one of the herpes virus family of viruses, not the same one that infects
All right.
people. But okay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm having audio problems. I'm going to log off and try to log back on again.
Okay, I will sing and dance and
I
do my
can't hear
elephant imitation. I'm not going to do my elephant imitation. All right. Yeah. Katie, are you? I'm assuming, Katie, yeah, if you're a veterinarian, you put your hands in some strange places. Definitely, definitely. Okay. Wow, this is interesting. So, Kimberlyn mentions at birth, the elephant babies are 268 pounds. At my heaviest, I was right at 250, which is really big, and I'm just imagining another 18 pounds. Up, up. You're in.
Yeah, there it is. I can hear you now. Great. Excellent.
You saved me from having to do an elephant impression.
Yeah, so we were talking about elephant herpes. It's only are very dangerous to the young ones, to the ones typically about 5 years old, up to 10. There's also been one in Berlin that was actually shipped from Houston. I think he ended up dying of it up to like his almost 20 years old. So it's
that's young.
not just 5. So they're, at 5 years old, they're monitored very closely. 10 years old, they're not out of the woods yet. Typically, it's Asian elephants. However, there's just been a 10-year-old African that's come down with it in Sedgwick County Zoo in Wichita.
Oh.
And they're around the clock monitoring it. They saw the symptoms right away. You have to get drugs within 72 hours. It's a pretty touch and go situation. And
what are the symptoms?
The symptoms are very minor. It could be as minor as just being lethargic, just being kind of uninterested in something one day, just not the same little bouncy elephant that they normally are.
I'm just thinking, so it's like when you change from a toddler to a teenager. How do you tell?
Yeah.
Well, I got some look there.
So yeah, it's extremely difficult, and especially with facilities that don't have a lot of experience. Luckily, as facilities get experience, they're able to share and help out each other quite a bit. Okay. And the Sedgwick thing was unexpected because Africans typically don't get it like Asians do or haven't been. So I've been watching that pretty closely. If you go onto Sedgwick County Zoo Facebook site, you could see they show the process of it, and it's they put it in a standing sedation. It's just a pretty small elephant, 10 years old or so, I think. Standing sedation, so they could enter into the stall with it, and then they have to give blood transfusions, so they have to take blood from another elephant.
Wow.
Spin down the serum, and then give serum transfusions to it.
That if I can ask a question there, I'm assuming elephants have blood types like humans do then too?
That is a good question. And I don't know that. I don't know enough about it to give you an answer without being sure of it.
Yeah, imagining the Gray Cross Society, where they're looking for elephant blood donations and stuff.
Yeah, and I probably at one time knew that answer. Like the last 10 years, I've in order to get where I am with helicopters, I've had to get into helicopters that way. So
sure.
And I only got so much in my age now. Only have so much room in my head. So as soon as something goes in there, something falls out.
Yes, I'm familiar with that occurring. But yeah,
So I'm not into it as much as I used to be, but I'm still got one leg in it, you know. So yeah, I don't recall the answer to that question, or don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Where do they take the blood from the donor? Like from the trunk, or from a leg, or from an ear, or any idea there?
From the back of the ear. Back of the ear is typically where I would draw blood from, or a vein on the inside of the back leg was an easier one. The vein on the inside of the back leg was a really, really big vein, but typically there's a lot to choose from behind the ears, and you could, train them to just
sit there and take it.
If you train them, yeah, you could just, they'll stand there and let you do it if you train them right,
I'm just thinking back to my work with cows growing up, and you never came up behind the cow because it would, kick you. And I guess, do elephants kick backwards? Like, I'm assuming not, actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, they do?
Yeah, they're ninjas. They're
okay.
Ninjas.
Oh man, that would send you flying. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So they're they're not as, they're not as reactive. They're thinking.
Yeah.
They're thinking animals. If somebody comes up to you behind you and touches you, you're not just going to turn around and take a swing.
Sure. Okay. I guess,
So I mean, once you get into a good enough relationship with them, I would remember what I would like to do, just for entertainment, is if sometimes they would catnap and go to sleep standing up. So I would see if I could sneak up they were asleep, without waking them up.
That would be funny.
Sometimes I'd be able to. Most of the time not. But if I got up to them, I would just touch them real lightly, and they would, of course, they'd wake up, they'd turn around, and they would see me, and they would, it's not a game I'd recommend everybody play.
Yeah. That leads to the question: did you ever see the elephants play practical jokes on each other, or anything like that? Kind of playful.
Oh yeah, they have a sense of humor. They have the amount of the thinking that they can do. They absolutely love to play.
Cool.
They just the use of tools. I mean, I've seen them use tools. They recognize themselves in reflections.
Wow.
So I had those pistol water hose sprayers you have on the end of your water hose.
Oh, yeah.
Your gardeners. So generally what I would do is I would just leave one of those out for them, and it was cleaner for them to drink water from that. So they'd pick it up, they knew how to operate it, they'd squirt it in their mouth, and they would drink water.
So like with the little bits at the end of their trunk, they could, like the little nubs at the end of the trunk, they could.
Yeah, they would use.
Wow.
Yeah, they use that like a hand. So they'd pick it up with their trunk, squeeze it with their trunk, and spray it into their mouth. And it was cleaner than a water bucket.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
That makes sense.
All that other stuff. So generally I would keep hay getting ready to feed in bales, like, outside of an area, so where they couldn't reach it or something like that. So when it was time to feed, I just had to go get it and bring it back in. And so if I wasn't around sometimes, or they were bored, they would take that water hose, and the trigger on that pistol was like a little hook. And they would take the water hose and they would throw it at the bale of hay, and they would hook the string with that handle.
Wow.
And they would pull hay to them where they could reach it.
That's astounding. I never would have guessed that. Wow. Okay, that's.
And even after being with them for as long as I did, even that was like, holy, wow,
Man, that is problem solving. I got a question here from Tina Marie, who raises cattle. Can you see that?
Yeah, there are squeeze chutes. In fact, if you go onto Sedgwick County's zoo, they're actually treating the elephant in a squeeze chute. But yeah, there's most facilities now have what they call a squeeze chute. They are operated hydraulically. Some of
Okay.
them are so advanced that they can actually squeeze the elephant and then this camera's backwards. Squeeze the elephant and then lay it on its side.
Oh wow, rotate it.
And,
Okay.
and you know, they had to come in a little bit more because not all elephants are cooperative. Some of them are just outright nightmares.
Bullheaded.
And so you still have to manage them. You still have to care for them. You know, if they get sick, you still have to be able to do it. You can't just we can't get anywhere near it, you know.
Yeah, you still got to try. Wow.
Yeah.
What is if I can ask another question, like, had you ever seen a elephant display strength that just blew you away? Like, holy crap, that is way stronger than even I imagined. Like, you know, it decided to pick up a car and move it somewhere else. Or...
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, the elephant I had was a working elephant. So I remember, you know, when I had it down here in Texas, in Southeast Texas, to be kind of wet, I would get my pickup off the road and it would get stuck. So I would get and it had a steel flatbed on the back of it. So I would get in the pickup, put it in gear, and I would get the elephant, you know, bring the elephant up to it. And then I would give her verbal commands out the back, and she would go underneath the bumper with her tusks, hook up underneath the bumper so she wouldn't damage the pickup, and kind of lift the back end off and then push it forward to get it out of the mud.
Holy cow.
Now there was, but it's an impressive strength. There was a bull, and bulls are a whole different animal than cows. I mean, just completely different. I mean, just especially when they go into must, which is a hormone spike for breeding.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a bull that had a pen made out of railroad track, not ties, but track, and it was
steel.
And it was a huge pen. I had seen this bull, and while it was musk, walk up into the corral and pick up the entire corral 3 or 4 feet. You know, I mean, the posts were still on the ground, but the entire corral of track were coming out. And that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I've seen photos of an elephant back in the 1920s, another bull that when it went into must, they put it into a concrete grain silo of some sort, 2 or 3 foot concrete walls.
Yeah.
Until it could ride out its must period. And it walked right through the walls on that. So there's pictures of that.
I'm picturing Spock when he's in his 7-year mating cycle.
Yeah.
All right, here's an interesting question. I don't know if you can see that. Have you ever seen elephants self-medicate themselves out in the wild, or is there much research on that?
Yeah, so I think they do, but that doesn't mean that, you know, it's been proven. There's not a lot of research. They do know that elephants, you know, they'll seek out salt. There's a salt cave somewhere in Africa where they go in and seek out salt and eat salt. I think old animals will kind of naturally know whether it's instinctual or not. Hey, I'm not feeling well. I feel better when I eat this, you know.
Definitely. Like
so
me and Whataburger.
So I don't think there's been a lot of research in it, so to say.
Okay.
But I would be almost positive that absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
especially
most
with
animals
as
probably do
intelligent
that.
as they are, as smart as they are, they probably have a whole system of that. Wow.
Yeah, or you know, the amarula fruit would drop down and ferment, and you know they come from around and get drunk off of that. You know,
that.
I would like to think
drunk elephants would probably be kind of scary here. I'm going to put up the links again. You sent me 2 links to the Elephant Managers Association and the Asian Elephant Support. So are there places there people can learn more about what's going on in the world of elephants?
so the Elephant Managers Association was originally, it's kind of a localized ones. Zoo people who work hands-on with elephants are typically members. I just got a 25-year membership pin out of that one, which was kind of neat. But it's a small organization that was typically set up for people who work hands-on with elephants. They have a conference every year. Really neat people. They've opened up their membership to enthusiasts. So to try to raise money. As you can imagine, there's not a lot of us, so there's not a lot of, from membership. So anybody can become a member of that. I encourage everybody to. You'll get in fact, not only did I bring that book with me.
Good. So just again, shout out. So I mentioned Chris is donating a copy of the Idiot's Guide to those who donate money to help support Foraging Texas, but he also has some elephant swag for you too. So
here
draw the name on Friday.
That is included. It's called Journal of the Elephant Managers Association.
Oh, wow.
It is a journal that comes out, and if you become a member, I think they have it in digital format primarily now. You'll get this journal, some real interesting things they do. So, you have the organizations out there that do things, or you often wonder how much do they do, how well do they do it?
Right.
Being in this world that I am, I can honestly say that there's some ones out there that are doing very good things and very real things. Elephant Managers Association, they contribute. They're doing very real things, whether it's on a zoo-related basis, conservation, and all of the above. They also support International Elephant Foundation, which simply goes out and finds worthwhile projects. It's like a little bit bigger than the EMA, but more global.
Okay.
And they'll support that. They'll put professionals in the field to help with these problems. And then Asian Elephant Support, AES, is another one that's doing some real good things for, not only wild elephants, human elephant conflict mitigation, but also captive elephants. I mean, to realize there's a whole bunch of captive elephants in these Asian countries, Asian range countries. And, as we become advanced with our care and our veterinary medicine, Asian Elephant Support is sending people, supplies, and tools to those countries to help better educate the mahouts to care for their animals and to educate their national veterinarians and their elephant veterinarians, and to provide the tools necessary for that.
Yeah, the education and the solutions that's been figured out are being spread around the world to help everyone that's caring.
And they're real things, they're real solutions. They're not, there's not lobbyists up there. And now IEF does send people to the CITES convention when they have it, to represent that and keep on top of all of that stuff. But there's no wasted money in these things. These are all by true elephant professionals that are, in it for the right reasons and doing the right thing.
Cool.
So,
okay, it's actually after 9 now, so people have been really. I don't know if you can see the comments, but people have been really interested. And just Charles McGee, yes, the railroad tracks, the steel posts of the fence, were the steel rails running horizontal or vertical?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so it was.
They'd be welded. Yeah, they'd be welded. Both. Yeah.
Holy moly. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Chris. This was a whole new world that probably no one here knew about. And just again, thank you for all your support for Foraging Texas and all that too. And it's always cool to see you in the morning and your helicopter pictures and the
I got 10 more days out here that I'm back in Texas for a week, but we need to get together. I'll take you flying out or something.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get your way up. Come on. Go for a helicopter ride or something.
I was going to say, my boss, my boss was here earlier. I don't know if he's here now, but he's going on vacation next week. And I have a list of things I have to do. But, we can probably squeeze that in. Skiff, don't worry. I'll do the medicine man stuff too from the air. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pictures of that.
Yeah. At this night, I hate to end this because it feels like there's so much we can do yet. Oh, we got to throw this up here. Here's a great thing. Yep. So definitely. I know. Were you an EMS pilot? I was thinking you were, but or with your flying. But I'll just say Kathleen is a nurse. She works in the intensive care here in Houston, and so she's.
Oh yeah,
dealing
yeah.
with
So I'm in actually, yeah, an EMS pilot. Yeah.
Okay.
A helicopter EMS pilot.
All right.
And
So just,
working out in New Mexico right now.
Cool. All right, people. Again,
See,
thank you so much. It sounds like at some point we should
In
probably
the
have
back
you
of my
back.
helmet, it's official. It says Stick Monkey.
Oh, cool. Whoop. It's drifting. There we go. The so
Monkey,
just
there you go.
because you're here, and I told you my one helicopter story, but my wife, her brother was taking helicopter lessons, and then the helicopter pilot died and crashed and died. I guess, yeah, he crashed first, and so he stopped taking lessons because it sounds like it's a lot trickier to fly a helicopter than to fly a plane. So.
Yeah, there's some there's some keynotes of do's, a whole list of do's, and more importantly, do nots. In learning how to fly these.
I can believe it.
But it's really rewarding. It's a blast.
It's fun. I can believe
It's
it.
an absolute blast.
All right. Again, thank you, Tribe, for tuning in. Hopefully, it seemed like there were some new people tonight, which is always exciting. Next week, we'll be having Professor Brandon Laurie back, and we'll be talking about post-apocalyptic novel and other, well, not just post-apocalyptic novels, but basically books that kind of influence our attitudes towards the stability of the world. Everything from Swiss Family Robinson to The Stand by Stephen King. So we'll be talking that. So kind of falling back on the prepper side of things. But definitely, Chris, I think we need to have you back again at some point, because it sounds, I bet with 25 years, you get some more stories in you. So, but at this point, I really need
a
to
few of them. Got to wait for the statute of limitations to run out on some of them.
I understand that completely. It's like 7 years on that, 12 years. Okay, we got 3 more years. But again, thank you, everyone. Don't forget, show up here again tomorrow morning, 7:30 to 8 a.m. Donut shop at the beginning of the world. We'll find out what Chirpy's latest words of wisdom are. So until then, thank you all. Much, much, much appreciated for spending this hour with us. Have a great evening and a great life. Okay. Ending broadcast.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.